All right, we're here. You're watching Transparency and Merit with Brian and Joe.
This will be, by the way, my third day of no sugar.
How's that going along? Is it hard or easy?
You know, there are moments when it's hard, but you just kind of resist.
I guess the question I have is, are you replacing your cravings for sugar with unrefined natural sugar, or are you eating like artificial sweetener stuff?
Just cold turkeying it.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, are you eating diet foods, or are you just, what is that?
I'm just eating like a high carb, low.
Sugars and things.
Low carb. As much low carb as I can handle, dude. And it's a struggle. You get the withdrawals, Joe.
Yeah. Sugar's highly addictive.
I think it's maybe more addictive than a lot of your hardcore drugs.
Most likely. I've heard that it's more addictive than nicotine.
Now, what could you give up easier, Joe? Sugar or pot?
Well, I can easily give up pot. But sugar also, it's tough to get rid of. But the main thing for me is I try not to eat refined sugar. I don't eat. I avoid corn syrup at all costs. And when I was traveling this summer, I was up in Wyoming and the Dakotas, and especially in the Dakotas, they've been the country's leading producer of corn for probably 75, 80 years. And so when you go to the stores there, it is unbelievably stocked with items that are made with corn syrup. And so that was really difficult to avoid when I was out there. But generally, yeah, if I can eat natural sugars, and from fruits or whatever it is, then I feel like I'm doing a little better. I've only had four cavities my whole life.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, Joe. And I'm not arguing with people from woke cancel culture, or the left anymore. Because I kind of want to, I've said this before. Part of me, I have kind of an ego with regards to that. But I'll tell you this story right now. I don't know if you know who Alan Dershowitz is.
Of course, yeah.
So Alan Dershowitz will now be banned because he worked for Trump. Will now be banned, or there's a petition going around to ban him from speaking at Harvard. And I think that I think this is so against what so against decency and morality. I really kind of believe that these people. I think that people should stop pulling their pull all their funds out of Harvard. Like anyone who's giving donations to Harvard with this kind of behavior, I don't know if it's going to be successful, but anyone that doesn't respect freedom of speech and freedom of expression to that extent doesn't belong in civilized society, in my opinion. But that may not change, and I'm more of an observer on it. But there are things I would like to see. But I don't know. Hearing that story just now, I just was looking at my Twitter and hearing that story. That really bothered me. That really bothered me. And
is that generally what he does now? Is he mostly on the lecture circuit?
No, but they no. I mean, I think he's still Trump's attorney, and I don't think he's won yet. But basically, it really kind of bothers me that this is being done, and that this behavior is, just it just. I mean, because usually after I think once the election is over, Alan Dershowitz may go to the lecture circuit, but one of the places he won't be speaking is Harvard University. And that is absurd. That is awful. But it shows to me the level of the left in this country right now. And I don't know if I'll tell you something. I don't know, because people, and I'm not really a big Trump fan or a big, and I'm definitely not a Bernie fan, but or a Biden fan or a Bernie fan or any of these other people. But it's like I've really never seen anything quite like this kind of woke. How bad it's gotten. It was bad, and then it's gotten progressively really worse. After George Floyd, they just seem to have come out of the wood. The woke cancel culture just got really aggressive and really, really awful. And it's almost like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. These people are becoming pod people. And if you ever watched the 1978 Kaufman version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, one of the things the woman does is she just shows no emotion and she just walks right along with them. So basically, if you just keep your head down and you're a cog in a wheel, nothing will happen to you. But the moment you begin to speak and speak out, it's almost like they all, because if you remember the movie, they all have this ee! And it's like, and really, it's really Nazi, fascist, or racist.
I'm kind of. It's been so long since I've seen that. It's a good reminder. I probably am going to watch that again. I've got a couple films like that people have been reminding me to watch. But now, were the pod people? Do you think that was an allegory for people then, like it could be now? Or was there a big? Is there an overarching allegory there? If you watch a zombie movie, at this point, if you watch a zombie film and you're not getting the idea that it's an allegory for humanity now, then you are missing the boat, in my view. I think that's basically what zombie movies have always been. But what was going on there? What was because it's been it was with Michael Douglas, right? Am I thinking of the right movie? Brian? I think you're muted.
It was actually Donald Sutherland who was in it, but
Oh, right. Donald Sutherland. Okay.
now because it was originally in 1956, and it was, from my understanding, the original which haven't seen, I saw bits and pieces of it, but the original 1956 version was, I think it was a thing on McCarthyism and how everyone, like they were screaming communist. Today, it's people screaming racist or fascist or misogynist, and and it seems like all of a sudden people, it's almost like they're turning into mindless pod people, and you cannot they cannot be broken away from this pod person type of thought, and it's kind of difficult. It's like it's kind of disheartening to think that something like his. I mean, some of these people are really smart, but they have this just mindset of just kookiness, and I'm really resisting not going into certain because and they take over they just take over every every major social media company has been taken over by particularly Facebook. I mean, I have a local city Facebook page, and it has been taken over by the pod people left, and they're just awful. And I am withdrawing from sugar, and I'm withdrawing from that page just because there are so many nasty pod people in there, and I'm not going to convince them of anything. They're just nasty, vindictive, cruel people who believe that they are in the absolute right in what they do. And for them, the ends justifies the means. They're the most just narrow-minded. Like before, it was the conservatives that were narrow-minded, like the Archie Bunkers. But now it's the left. They are the absolute. You want to play a trailer for the. And by the way, it's free on YouTube. By the way.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, let's check out the trailer.
They come from a dying world. They drift through the universe, pushed on by the solar winds. They adapt, and they survive. The function of all life is survival. Sleep. Sleep.
Oh, I know a few people like that.
From deep space, sleep. The seed is planted. Sleep. Sleep. Terror grows.
Matthew! Matthew! Matthew!
Like the others.
Others, wake up! That's you when you sleep. Sit up!
Invasion of the body snatchers.
It's got no detail, no character. It's unformed.
All of a sudden, they're growing like parasites. Is it contagious? People are being duplicated.
How do you know my name? I didn't tell you my name.
Can't find anything in here that looks like a body.
One side's nosebleed.
It looked right at me.
You're looking at it as if it was human. It was not human.
Now, the classic fear begins to grow.
We're being cornered.
In a modern masterpiece of science fiction.
They're barricading the street.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Get down!
Starring Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. Oh, and Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. From deep space.
No love for Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? But yeah, it's it's a really good piece of work, and it really describes to a degree. I guess when these people go to college or they hear enough of this, they can just be. I mean, they have all this stuff that can de-radicalize the far right. But is there anything to de-radicalize? I mean, and there's nothing to de-radicalize the far left. Just the far left has really defeated the far right, because the far right has nothing to do with the establishment. The establishment is far left. And these pod people seem to like a lot of, the social media, Facebook pages and other pages that I go on. There are a lot of them, and you cannot argue or debate them. And they will punish you. So I've kind of made a point where
that is where my conflict withdrawals kick in, and it's the people who want to attack. Maybe they've misunderstood or taken something the wrong way, and they haven't explored that any further, but instead they either want to create the drama and take it to that next level and get intrusive. They want to regress back to their teen years, and they don't want to man up. They don't want to put on their adult pants. They don't want to use their adult brain. They'd rather be stuck with these kind of emotional thoughts banging around in their head, and they want to throw it at you. And part of me thinks that they're getting a sick thrill out of it, in addition to hurting the person they're dealing with. What do you think?
Joe, I think a lot of them feel like, I mean, and it depends on what kind of drama you're dealing with. But when it's with the drama of the left, I think that there probably is a kind of empowerment that they feel, and it strokes their ego. Like, hey, man, I'm the same guys that stormed the beaches of Normandy. Even though a lot of these leftists really hate America, it's kind of like, and some of these people are duped with that stuff. So I think there is a level of feel good ego with what they're doing, because they think what they're fighting is evil, and they equate speech with violence, and it's really crazy. And it's really, some of them are just really they're really manipulative, because they know to a degree that what they believe is inadequate and really it's really kind of wrong. So they skirt the issue a little bit, and then you get to talking to them, and you go down the rabbit hole enough, and you know that they believe in some very awful things.
What's up to our good friend Nick and Wayne Whiteside, who makes amazing video. There's a new video posted of his guitar playing. Check him out on YouTube. We have a phone call. I don't know who it is. Hello there. You are on with Brian and Joe.
What's going on, man?
Not much. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you, JP?
Hanging in there.
Is that Diamond Dane?
That is Diamond Dane.
Are you feeling festive where it's about Christmas time?
Can you believe that? It's Christmas is almost here, Brian. What are you going to do?
I'm going to...
what are you going to do when the gingerbread cookies are offered? Are you going to turn them down?
Both my parents... Yeah, I probably will. Well, I don't have any parents, and
Why are you going to turn them down? Why are you going to turn down Christmas, man? Don't be a Grunch.
Yeah, don't be a Grunch.
Yeah, don't be a Grunch, man.
yeah.
It's funny as that.
So
do we go into, man?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Brian. Tell them what we're dealing with here? Conflict, withdrawals.
Yeah, basically, there are a lot of drama queens, and there are a lot. I have to admit, to a degree, there's a little bit of a drama queen inside me, because I like to sometimes, like, social media brings out the drama queen. We can post inflammatory, trolly stuff, and I'm thinking it's like for intellectual purposes. But the truth is, I know when I post the stuff I post on my city website, I know that people will be triggered and they'll be upset. And even though I think they're stupid, and they've posted some, like, I wanted to go off on these people and tell them how I really feel and what I really think of them, but I do it in a roundabout way. And I posted some inflammatory stuff, and it's more like part of me does like engaging with these idiots, these people who I actually really loathe as human beings. I mean, they take cruelty to a new step. And I realized, what am I doing? Why am I even on there with any of that? This is these people are just, vicious vermin.
Because you wanted to get a beat for what's going on in your city.
Well, I used to have an addiction to social media myself. I used to sit there and I would sit there and shit post on Twitter and fuck with people until Jack Dorsey came in and said, no more, and kicked me off the site. So, I got to say, I'm cured.
Well, here's the deal. I certainly do not go to the inflammatory lengths that you do, but there's a part of me that likes to. I have my beliefs, and I've lived where I've lived off and on for a long time. My parents died in the home that they lived in, and it pisses me off that these people are so vindictive to some of our long-term citizens, and I want to kind of fight on their behalf. I'm deeply, deeply offended by their behavior. It really infuriates me, the kind of negative nonsense that they've been spewing out. But I know it doesn't do any good.
Well, have you ever considered doing what Spencer did?
Go into their homes and beating them up? No.
Yeah, you break into their house and you beat the fuck out of them.
Yeah, that would get me thrown in jail, and that's not worth it.
It was for Spencer. He's the prize fighter of Discord.
Yes.
It's the best around. Nothing's ever gonna bring you down.
So, Brian, where else do you want to take this? Was there anything else?
You know what? I don't want to take this anywhere else. I think that we're going to make
conflict withdrawal can reach into any aspect of life, and I think we're all people are dealing with it. Aren't we? I don't know what you guys have heard, but the last 2 days have been filled with another wave of quarantine, and some people are just kind of going along with the script, and then other people are like really pissed about this because.
So we're not here in West Virginia. We're talking about hanging our governor right now.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because I think a lot of this, and I really feel this way, I feel all of this has been a complete setup for governors and state politicians to fail. I think it's a big setup, and I think they're all these governors. California's got one of the worst, and so people are not happy with. But I think they've been set up to fail here, and I'm just wondering if that's. Are you hearing a lot of this too, Brian? Quarantine talk, because the supermarkets are starting to fill up again with people stocking their carts up to the max, and just that sort of thing.
Let me tell you a story from this weekend, man. Here in West Virginia, for the longest time, even when everybody's freaking out about it, Nobody enforced that mask shit. Before our shithead governor, Jim Justice, and I hope he fucking dies of fucking cancer AIDS or something fucking terrible.
Right.
Because, you know, something fitting for a piece of shit like him that's trying to run this great state.
Yeah.
Well, I walk into a liquor store. I was just in there Friday. And this old bitch comes at me. This fucking old boomer cunt. And she's sitting there fucking going, you can't come in here without a mask. You know, if she had been polite about it, you know, I'm not one of these people that's uppity about it. You know, I think the mask should be optional, you know.
Well, I like what you said, too. If we're forced to wear them, they should be given to us.
If you're a hypochondriac, yeah, go ahead and wear a mask. But, you know, most of us realize that, you know, this shit is basically a fucking cold, you know?
Yeah. Well.
And this old bitch came up to me, and when you come at me aggressively, I'm going to come aggressively back at you. So what I did was I said, fuck you, you old bitch, and I spit in her face as she was coming at me.
Oh, wow.
And I flipped her the bird.
Well, I don't condone that kind of behavior.
That liquor store again. I drove to the next liquor store, and I was thinking, yeah, I was probably just there. And then I pulled up into the liquor store, and then the dude behind the counter, he said, hey, man, our cocksucker governor made it to where I can't serve you if you're not wearing a mask, but I have an extra one right here. Here you go, man. The dude was nice. I said, thank you. And I purchased my liquor, and I went on my merry way. You know, a lot of it, it's not so much that it doesn't anger me so much that I have to wear a mask. It is the asshole-ish way that some of these motherfuckers go about that shit.
Well, I think there was an easing off of maybe the state so-called mandates, whatever they are, unconstitutional mandates, whatever. I think there was a lot of laying back on it, but now companies, businesses now are basically they've got their backs up against the wall. If they don't enforce it, they're not going to be able to keep their doors open, and it's it's a chokehold on a lot of small businesses for sure.
I think, Joe, you know what? If things go really bad, Joe, me and you should start opening up a restaurant just no licensing, no nothing. If they're just gonna and the governor of our state just going out there and having like him going out and eating out while the rest of us are suffering, it's really awful what they did.
Jimmy, you're invited to Mr. Midnight Movie's Corn Dog Shack. We're gonna make this official. You can come down and have a corn dog, and you don't need to wear a mask.
Yeah, there we go.
I would love to have a corn dog with Mr. Midnight Movie.
That would be awesome.
Corn dogs are delicious. I also like pastrami. Hey guys, are we gonna call? I'm gonna call this one.
Yes.
Stick on. But hey, by the way, like our show and subscribe. And Jimmy, thank you for somewhat behaving yourself because something.
Yeah, like, subscribe, and don't forget to tell a Mr. Midnight Movie you got to click that little bell in the corner, that little bell, because YouTube is backwards as fuck. And if you don't click that little bell, it won't send you notifications. So make sure you click that little bell and you get it to where you get all the notifications.
Hit the bell. Hit the bell.
Susan's trying to fuck people out of views, too. It's a very dirty world we live in now.
It's sneaky. And I think, Jimmy, you're ready to kick ass in it. So go to our website, people, transparencyandmerit.com. All right, let's call it.